Y'all planning for this?
Welcome back, TPR Nation. This is Jamie Shalansky in an episode of Worlds to Conquer. And today, let's talk about prospecting. Nope, even though I live in Alaska, I do not actually mean gold panning, but I mean looking for additional clients. And how do we discern at Shalansky & Associates, our RIA up in Anchorage, Alaska, how much we're going to prospect, when we're going to prospect, and who we're going to prospect to? So by definition, there are three categories of people that we work with. One is a prospect. So that is somebody that we want to engage in financial planning services, but we don't know if we are a good fit for them or they're a good fit for us. I'm going to take you through how we know if somebody's a good fit for us. And then second of all, we have our clients. Our clients are anyone that has signed a contract and paid us a fee. You have to do both of those things to become a Shalansky & Associate client. That is an important distinction and definition for our company. We have done a lot of revisions. Floyd and Rosa Shalansky, Micah and I's mom and dad started our RIA in 1981. And, at the time in the 1980s, my dad was taking anyone who could fog a mirror and was willing to pay him, he was willing to work with. He sold a lot of insurance at that time. And as he began to become educated on financial planning and what it means, we had evolutions of our practice. So we had a lot of insurance-only clients that we ended up pretty much getting rid of by the 2000s. So for the last 24 years, we've been running pretty clean book of business where we have fee-paying clients and asset under management clients. Those are the two ways that we get compensated. If somebody comes to us and they say, hey, I just want this annuity, I just want this insurance product, we say, we're not the right person for you. We're not brokers, we're planners, and we do all or nothing. And that's how we structure it. The third category is centers of influence. And centers of influence are people that you're going to work with as a byproduct of what you do. So in our office, what that means is that is a lot of certified public accountants, enrolled agents, or attorneys. And so those are the three categories. Now, oftentimes our COIs are not clients also, but they refer clients or we have our clients working with them. So those are those three categories. There's also no exchange of money between a center of influence and our company, Shalansky & Associates. All right, so prospecting, let's talk about that. We have a subsidiary called Plan Your Federal Retirement. Plan Your Federal Retirement is a niche-based financial planning for federal employees. They have a very unique retirement system, a lot of benefits inside of there. And so we're very niche-focused inside of that. If you have not listened to the episode Niche Slapped, you need to. We'll go ahead and link that episode in the show notes. Go back and that will tell you whether or not you should niche or not, and whether or not it's a good idea for your particular practice. But long before we started Plan Your Federal Retirement, which was in 2008, we ramped that up. And we had sporadically been working with both PERS and FERS, so public employee retirement system people, as well as federal employee retirement system individuals. So one is state and one is federal government. And we had, with Floyd's business, sporadically been working with those people since the 1980s, but it really wasn't target focused like what it is today. In the 1980s, like I said, anyone that could fog a mirror. We were looking for anyone who was willing to take advice and pay for that advice. So our prospecting back then, we used the Jack route, which was successful money management and financial strategies for successful retirements. We did a lot of prospecting in the community schools because that's where we'd go into the library, and it was a real great neutral location in order to do that. As we grew our business, by the 90s, our office building had a large conference center inside of it. And so we would be able to host our own seminars there. We had the highest hire ratio by doing it at public schools versus our own office. The public schools gave us a neutral area, so clients didn't feel that they were being necessarily sold to, and didn't feel pressure to come back to that particular place of business. We thought it was a great idea to build an office suite in the 90s that allowed us to do seminars inside the same building, but we just didn't get the return on it that we expected. We needed some type of neutral location. Today, we still teach seminars, but we teach them for federal employees. So we roll them out 2 times a year. We do several online classes, and we have an online learning management system in which, even though they're geared towards federal employees, and we do definitely go over all of their benefits and the unique part of it, a lot of it is just good old financial planning. It's cash flow, it's insurance, it's Social Security, it's taxes. It's investments. Yes, the federal employees have the TSP, but most people have a 401k, which are very, very similar. So it's just really great financial planning workshop. And we do that in an 8-hour class. And the reason that we do it for 8 hours long is for one sole purpose. Yes, it's a lot of content to get through, but we are kind of experts in this field, so we could get through that really fast if we wanted to. And we have no problem speaking fast either. So as long as you can keep up, we'll keep, going faster and faster through the content. The reason that it is 8 hours long is we want to establish social credibility. We want to establish social credibility, especially most financial advisory firms. There's not a lot of high dollar marketing out there for us because we can't compete with the Edward Jones and the L Investments and the big, multi-million dollar conglomerates. We're never going to win at that game. We're never going to have more advertisements than Pacific Life. We're not going to put more money towards it than Pacific Life is. So all of these different financial institutions out there that are marketing, you're not in the same category. You're not in the same, ballpark as them. So don't play the same game. Go play a different game. And the beautiful part about being a financial advisor is that there's always space for us. There's always room for us. People are always looking for financial advice. You got 3 F's in life: faith, fitness, and finance. You cannot outsource your faith. That is between you and God. You must figure that out for yourself. You cannot, no matter how many pills we buy, no matter how many exercise equipment, no matter how many coaches we hire, outsource fitness. We still have to show up and do the actual work to gain the gains we want. But the third area, finance, we do get to outsource. We do get to bring somebody else in. We do get to bring an expert to say, hey, help me do this. Help me create multi-generational impact. And so people are always willing to listen because money is around us all of the time. We don't always make health decisions. Maybe we do, like with what we eat or consume or whether or not we have alcohol or other vices. But the reality is we're making an exchange of money every single day, down from who moved the thermostat and left the lights on in the house to should I buy a new car or do I continue to wait? Our car price is going to go down. We're constantly running a ledger in our mind of the financial decisions that we have to make. And so when it comes to marketing, when I tell most financial advisors is to say, hey, what's working? Should I do newsletters? Should I ramp up my website? Should I do a YouTube channel, like brown bag lunches, seminars? What is working? Everything is working. You just have to work it. And where I see most financial advisors fail is they try something one time and didn't get the success they wanted, so they never do it again. Or worse yet, and I'm totally guilty of this in our own practice, is we try something 1 or 2 times, it works smashing, we see a ton of success, and so we stop doing it. Because it works so well, why would we continue doing it? So making sure that you're consistent, because it's not about, you go online today and we've got thousands of people that watch our YouTube channel every single time we publish a video. And we've got, tens of thousands of people hitting our website every single month. We have hundreds of requests for appointments coming in every single year, hundreds. That means that people are going online, finding our content, and know that we charge $497 for a prospect meeting and is saying, yes, I want that. Yes, I need that. Now, what makes us so unique over you? Discipline. We're actually doing it when it's not fun, when it's not easy, when it's redundant, when we've said it so many freaking times. There was one point in 23 that I said, if I have to write another Roth IRA article, I am going to just absolutely blow my brains out. This is too much. I'm answering the same question over and over again. But guess what? I was not actually answering the same question. They were different questions from different people. Now, the answer was always the same, but the question was being asked differently by different people. And if they're still asking it, then we still need to talk about it. And so we get really dismissive and bored, especially if you're an entrepreneur out there and you got that entrepreneurial tick. Oh my gosh, redundancy will kill us. It is our death. But that is what it takes to establish a proper marketing channel. That's what it takes to get hundreds of prospects reaching out to your firm and saying, hey, I think I need 1 hour of time with you. I've got a lot of questions and I'd love for you guys to review this information with me. but it means showing up when nobody else is. It means redundantly doing the content, consistently putting out a schedule. And this is one of the reasons if you want to, we go through this with financial advisors. So we love to do business and goal setting in October. And so October is sort of our business goal setting, and we get it all mapped out for the next year. And so when we're working with our advisors and we're hiring at Shalansky and Associates, we want the right kind of people that are hungry for growth, want to drink the Kool-Aid, want to apply the processes and the people and the things that we already have set up and deliver massive value to their clients while being highly profitable in the process. And so when we work with our advisors and we start goal setting for the upcoming year, we start with a simple question. How many clients do you want to onboard next year? Now, this is where I get some bogus answers. This is where people are like, hey, I want 20 new clients next year. Okay, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you also want a Ferrari with a red bow on your driveway without any car payment. However, you need to be realistic. Can you onboard 20 clients? So you need to back into the math of this to say, all right, if I've got a closing ratio of 25 or 50%, how many prospects do I need to meet with? All right, now I've got that number down. So let's just say that you're 50% and you want to bring on 20 new clients next year. Great, you got to have 40 prospect appointments. And so right now on your calendar, you should be opening it up, going through your surge, and it should read open for prospect appointment, 1 hour and a half time frame. Open for prospect appointment. And you need 40 of those on your calendar, self-actualizing for this year of how many prospects you're going to meet with and what time of day you're going to meet with them. That way, when your team goes to book an appointment or you go to book an appointment, you're not filling the space pretending to work. You're actually filling the space with the work that you want to achieve, that you want to do. Now, if you need to meet with 40 prospects, and then what is your top of the funnel? How many people do you have to reach before you get 40 people to raise their hand? And that's where most financial advisors fail to see the connection. So they see how many clients that they want to onboard. Most of the time they say between 12 and 20. I'm going to tell you right now, the top financial advisors I know are doing about 12 to 15. So if you think you're going to do 20 plus, you must be an absolute friggin' rock star, or you're setting really unrealistic expectations for yourself. And you're only going to be disappointed next October when we're going through this and you're not even near your numbers. So make sure you're realistic with your numbers that you can onboard. And then second of all, make sure your team can onboard them as well. So sometimes, especially in financial advisory practices, we come on real strong and then we shit the bed. Like we do a great job on our prospecting, our marketing. We bring you in, we wine and dine you, and then we get you to sign that contract. And then we just kind of leave our service off and we totally forget that you've paid us tens of thousands of dollars to manage your entire life savings. So at Shalansky and Associates, we don't do that. We don't shit the bed. We're so hyper intentional about our onboarding experience and our continued relationship with that client and what it looks like. We go above and beyond to deliver unparalleled service because what starts in the beginning for us is going to last until the end. We are not going to onboard someone, wine and dine them, and then treat them like second-rate citizens the second that we've closed the deal on them. Sign contract, transfer assets. Now we don't care because the money's already here. And that by design is a little bit sticky because it's harder for clients, but not impossible, to transfer their assets and restart a relationship with a new financial advisor. That's why most people out there that work with a financial advisor are not raving about their experiences because their experience is mediocre. In fact, if I sit down and talk to and this just happened to me 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I was chatting up with one of my BFFs and she is not a client and she claims to have a financial advisor, but it's some Edward Jones person that she only talks to one time a year. And I keep trying to explain the difference that Edward Jones isn't bad. It's a great company, but your advisor is not advising you. You're not actually developing a financial plan with them. And that is only true of this specific broker in this specific instance. And so as I'm chatting, she's like, yeah, da, 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 da. And she's talking about her son who is going to get married in August. And she says, yeah, when he turns 26, which is in 3 years from now, he's going to have his own health insurance. And I stopped and I said, nope, I'm sorry. He's going to have his own health insurance when he gets married. And she's like, no. The Affordable Care Act says that when he turns 26. And I said, or married. And she's like, what? And she was totally flabbergasted. She goes, how come my advisor didn't tell me this? I've been talking to him about the wedding for X amount of time. And I'm like, because you don't have a financial advisor. You have a broker. I don't know how many times I have to say this to you. And that was the reality of it, that she didn't know this information because she wasn't working with a financial advisor. She was working with a stockbroker. That's what this person does. They are a broker for her. They manage her assets and that's it. They don't talk about any of the other financial planning. So why on earth, when she has a BFF like me, is she still with this financial advisor? Because it's easy. Because it's easy. One, I won't take her on as a client. That's just my rule because this goes into a great conversation about the 3 Ps. We'll talk about that in a minute for prospects. But I won't take her on as a client. However, she stays there because it's easy for her. Her assets are already there. Her account is already set up. It's already on direct deposit. She doesn't have to think about it. So she is willing to accept and pay for, because even when you bury fees and you're not super transparent about them, they're still in there. He's still making money. It's easier for her just to keep that account. That's why clients stay where it's easy for them. But that doesn't mean that they aren't always looking for a better experience. They aren't always looking for somebody to offer them more service. And so when it comes to you being able to market to your audience, you just have to consistently show up, because eventually, some point, there's going to be a triggering event for this person in their life that's going to make them want to make a change. They're going to want to see different. In fact, when we were doing the Successful Money Management mailers, one time, got to have 40,000 mailers in the office, and I was responsible for sending all these out. And so I'm like, Dad, this is the same mailing list. How come we keep using the same mailing list over and over when these people didn't sign up for the class? And he said, they haven't signed up yet. They haven't signed up yet. But someday, when this mailer hits their inbox, their mailbox, they're going to have a triggering event. Something's going to be going on in their life, and we're going to show up at the right time. We just don't know what time it is because we don't know what's going on in their lives. And so that is the rule around being disciplined with your content that you're producing for prospects. You don't know what triggering event is going to happen in their life that now makes your content the right time for them to be looking at it and for them to be seeing it. That is why you must be disciplined and must be consistent, even when you think nobody is listening, even when you're not seeing the results that you want to see. All right, the second question that I get asked by financial advisors is, hey, I want to start this marketing. I'm going to hire this big, newsletter company. I'm not a huge fan. We used Emerald for a really long time of canned content. Maybe it's just the writer in me. I don't like it. I think it's super generic. I don't think it's personalized, and I think it's very sterile. It doesn't make an impact. It talks a lot about features, but no benefits. So if you want to talk about features versus benefits, a feature is a terabyte of space. A benefit is this iPod holds 10,000 songs. That's the difference between the two, is that a feature tells you the technical side of things. That's oftentimes what these newsletters do, but they don't tell you the benefit of why you should pay attention to this, why it matters to you. And don't kid yourself for 1 second. People might want to be aware of what's going on, but they want to be aware so they know how it applies to them. We are always thinking about ourselves above all others. We want to know, how does this information help or hurt me? We are driven towards pleasure, and we are driven away from pain. So marketing must do one of those two things. It must move us away from pain or towards pleasure. That's it. That's the only push-pull when you're talking about doing your marketing content. So as a financial advisor or a team member listening in the office, you must start tracking your top of the funnel. And I draw this out on a big 3M sticky sheet. As a Shalansky, they materialize wherever I walk into a room, these giant 3M pads. And it literally looks like a giant circle at the top. And then I start drawing circles that go down. We have a whole prospect blueprint, and a blueprint is a if this, then that scenario built out in our custom built CRM that Micah and I made, which is called Infinity. And so our prospect process starts with a if this, then that. And the top of the funnel is the person becoming aware of us. So seeing our brand, seeing our name, seeing our content, it's now hitting their radar. Maybe it's a referral from a neighbor or a friend, but somehow they've heard our name and they're becoming aware. That's the very top of the funnel, is the awareness. Now, they're not necessarily, they're a lead when they're at the top of the funnel. They are a prospect when they raise their hand and want something. So think about this scenario. We've all walked through clothing mall stores and you see a brand, maybe it's, Buckle or J. Crew or Banana Republic or something of that nature. And you're aware of the brand. It's hit your radar. It's hit your mental perception. And then you go into the store and the clerk says, "Hey, can I help you?" And you say, "Oh, no, I'm just browsing." And you are, because you don't need anything. You just saw the brand. You wanted to become a little bit more familiar. Maybe you saw something that caught your interest, but you're just browsing. That's a lead. A lead is somebody that just walks through the store but doesn't want your help yet. However, once they become familiar with the brand and they see what you have to offer, the next time that they're shopping and they need khaki trousers that are guaranteed to wrinkle, then they're going to walk into Banana Republic and the sales clerk's going to say, "Hey, can I help you find something?" And they're going to say, "Yes, absolutely. I love ironing. And I wish when I traveled, I had a pair of pants I could roll up and spend the next half of a day ironing. Do you have some of those?" And then the Banana Republic person's going to say, "That's all we sell. It's right over here. Let me help you." And then you're going to get your khaki outfit and you're going to leave. And that is a prospect, somebody that says, "Hey, I have a specific need and I want to know, can you help me? Do you have the goods and services to help me?" Now, when a prospect comes into our office, we charge for prospect meetings. We charge $497 for a non-Shalansky to meet with the prospect. And during that session, we do not deliver a financial plan. What we do is we spend an hour answering all of your questions, which means what? First, we need to know what your questions are. So we go ask the prospect ahead of time, "How can we make sure that this was worth $497 to you?" And then we go get a ton of information from them. We have them fill out a personal financial fact finder. We go get 3 years of taxes. We get their investment statements. We get all of that information. And then we start going through the 5 areas of financial planning to see what areas they're on track and what areas they're off track. We don't do an in-depth analysis. We just see on track, off track, and then areas that we want to ask follow-up questions or areas that we see concerns. Like oftentimes estate planning that hasn't been touched in 30 years. Well, guess what? Laws have changed in the last 30 years. So we might want to do some updating of that information. So we'll start flagging those things, but we don't lead the prospect meeting with talking about our agenda. We lead it with talking about what they want to have answered, what makes it successful for them. Then when we've answered all of their questions, and when they get to the last question, we always say, "What else? What else? What else?" And so I'll say "what else" 3 times to somebody when I'm talking to them, because the first time they're like, "Oh, that's about it. But oh, yes, I have this question." And then by the third time we get to the "what else," we've normally addressed all of the questions and comments that they have at that time. And so then when the meeting adjourns, we do a no sell sell. So if they want additional help, our team will follow up with them in a week and they can move forward. Oftentimes, because we operate in this way with the no sell sell approach, people will say, "Hey, how do I continue to work with you? How do I continue to get back on your schedule? What does this look like?" etc. And then we'll explain how that relationship works if they want to onboard and become a client. We do not onboard every single prospect that we meet with, even the ones that want to hire us. You have to hit the 3 P's in our office. P like Papa. So you have to be personable. My rule of thumb: would I go get a glass of wine with this person? Yes or no? And that's really pretty simple for me, because if I wouldn't want to talk to them socially outside of the office, why the heck am I taking their money and managing their lives? And then 2, they have to be productive. And this is the 3rd P, or the 2nd P, why my friend does not make the test, is they have to be able to listen to advice and take advice. They have to be productive. You have to be able to coach them and then be coachable to do this, because otherwise every single conversation is going to be a disappointment or an argument. You're disappointed they didn't take the advice, or you're arguing with them about why your expertise is of benefit to them. And if they're not productive, they're not a good fit for you. The 3rd one is profitable. We have figured out in our office our cost to onboard a client. We know the cost to maintain a client relationship, and we know our minimums that we have to earn as a organization on every single client, because we have a responsibility to our team and our other clients to remain profitable. We must remain in business to keep managing and helping with their lifestyles. And so in order for them to onboard with us, they have to be personable, productive, and profitable. Those are the 3 Ps. If they are not one of those, they are not a good fit. They've got to hit all three of them. Sometimes we meet with people that are super personable, super productive, but man, they're not profitable. I'm not going to be able, either because I've got head trash and I'm inside their checkbook and telling them, oh my gosh, they can't afford our firm, or because I just think that I need to give them these services for some reason. There's a lot of entitlement that goes into that. There's a lot of head trash of thinking that you should do things at discount. And when you do things at discount, you are asking the rest of your clients to subsidize this one individual. And do not kid yourself. If you are not charging the same or similar rates and know these numbers for a fact and what they are in your organization, then you are asking a stranger to pay for another stranger's services. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. This is like checking out at the grocery store, having 2 things of chicken, and then asking the person that you think is more affluent to pay for the person that's less. That's what it is. It's socialism planning. So if that's how your model is set up and that's what you prefer to do, that's fine. But if you, like me, share capitalistic views and you think you're not doing this, I dare you to contact our growth management officer and schedule a one-on-one session and go through your book of business. I dare you to do this, because I bet, just like everyone else, just like every other top financial advisor out there that I know and work with today, you're doing this too. Because if we are guilty of it, so is everybody else. And these things just happen over time. If you don't have a firm policy of what you charge, and if that policy isn't so well articulated and verbalized that it can't be published on your website, you don't have a policy, you have a thought, you have an idea, you have a concept. You have a fantasy of how you're running your practice, but you probably are not. Everyone in your organization should know how you price your structure, how that looks like, what your AUM fees are, what your financial planning fees are. And that should be in line with your ADV. They come out every single spring. You should have it absolutely in line with that so everyone knows. And it is so well articulated, you could put it on your website and refer to it every single time. That's how good it should be. That's how well this should be understood by people in your organization. TPR Nation, you know everything we do at the Perfect RIA is about teaching financial advisors and their teams about how to become better business owners and better financial advisors so that they can accomplish 3 things. 1, deliver massive value to clients. Massive. Make sure that every client becomes a raving fan of your financial advisory practice. Number 2 is to spend more time with the people you love outside of the office. Stop playing office. Stop filling your calendar with stuff that is useless and you don't need to do because you have a guilty conscience about having to fill up your day. Be intentional with your time, be efficient, and get out of the office. Number 3 is you got to be profitable. You have a responsibility to your family, to you, to others, to be profitable and your clients in the process. So let's strip out these action items from this podcast. Number 1, what kind of prospecting is working? Newsletters, seminars, educational videos, learning management systems, luncheons, everything is working. You need to dedicate yourself to doing one thing and doing it so consistently that you are tracking. That's the second action item. You have to be able to track. What gets measured gets weighed. What gets weighed gets measured? I don't know the expression, but one of those, you have to be able to track all of your data to know what is being effective and what isn't. Number 3, the third action item, discipline. Discipline. You must be disciplined. You must be effective. You must be consistent over and over and over again. Just like with kids, when you are tired of saying something, it is the very first time that somebody is hearing the information. So that discipline is going to give you the results. And I cannot stress enough that second one we talked about on that tracking. You got to know top of funnel. You got to know prospects. You have to know new client goals. You have to know what are your minimums to working with your firm. How much do you guys charge? What is your break even on every single client? What do you need to keep your organization afloat? That is part of being a business owner. That is part of that entrepreneurial side of financial advising that so few financial advisors take a real hard look at. If you need assistance looking at your practice and analyzing it and making sure that you're making those dispassionate, unprejudiced views of it, then you need to contact us at lifestyle@theperfectra.com. Lifestyle@theperfectra.com, and we will get you aligned with somebody that can talk to you about how most financial advisors who are working with the Perfect RA are making radical changes in their business planning in order to become more successful financial advisors. TPR Nation, this is Jamie Shalansky in an episode of Worlds to Conquer. Go find people who share your values. Change the world.
Hold on before we go. Something that you need to know. This isn't tax, legal, or investment advice. That isn't our intent. Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice. Be a better husband, father, mother, and wife. The Perfect RIA.